The finance ministers of the APEC countries met in the face of a continuing global economic challenges. The crisis in Europe remains the central challenge to global growth, and it's crucial to all of us that Europe move quickly to put in place a strong plan to restore financial stability. We're all directly affected by the crisis in Europe, but the economies of the Asia-Pacific region, the economies you saw gathered here today, are in a better position than most countries are to take steps to strengthen growth in the face of the pressures from Europe. Now, in this context, the principal focus of our discussions as finance ministers was about how to help strengthen growth around the world, make it more balanced and sustainable in the future. The finance ministers here voiced their support for last week's pledge by the G20 leaders to support the global recovery. In order to achieve this objective of stronger, more balanced growth, the APEC finance ministers focused on making progress in a number of areas. First, as the U.S. continues to work through the problems that caused our crisis, and Europe confronts a period of slower growth, Asian economies will need to do more to stimulate domestic demand growth, both so that they're less vulnerable to slowdowns in the future, such as the situation in Europe, and also so that they can continue to contribute to stronger global demand. Second, this process of rebalancing will be aided by exchange rate policies in China and other Asian economies that allow their currencies to adjust in response to market forces. China, in particular, should continue to allow its currency to strengthen, and China has acknowledged the importance of faster exchange rate adjustment. The finance ministers agreed to continue our work to advance global financial reform, to put in place a stronger framework of global safeguards around the financial system, and to make sure that those standards are applied on an even basis to create a level playing field, to reduce the risk that financial risk in the future, just shifts to jurisdictions with lower standards. The APEC finance ministers also discussed practical, direct measures for boosting future growth of all our economies, focusing on the vital role of infrastructure investment in catalyzing growth and job creation. And finally, to help both protect the poor and promote financial development and growth, the APEC finance ministers have taken steps to expand the reach of safe and reliable financial services to their citizens. Now, while APEC countries are the most vulnerable to a global slowdown, they can also play the greatest role in contributing to global recovery and establishing the foundations for stronger, more sustainable, more balanced growth in the future. The APEC economies account for more than half of global GDP, and the bulk of these economies are likely to grow significantly faster in coming years than the rest of the world. They also account for more than half of the global current account surpluses, and their rebalancing efforts are critical to the foundations for stronger, more balanced growth in the future. That capacity for growth is very important to the United States, and that's why we're committed to continued engagement with the economies of the Pacific Rim, including, of course, more open and productive trade relationships. APEC economies account for 60% of U.S. exports, a figure that's likely to continue to increasing. U.S. exports overall rose almost 16% over the past year. Our exports are growing at a rate nearly 4 times faster than the rate of growth of the overall economy, further underscoring the importance to the United States of the Pacific Rim. As APEC economies grow and as they move to increase domestic demand, the importance of these trade relationships will only grow further. In the United States, we recently ratified trade agreements with Korea, with Panama, and Colombia, and we're making substantial progress towards the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which will also help increase trade with the most dynamic economies of the Pacific Rim. But in order for the United States to take full advantage of the substantial opportunities offered by this region, we need to continue to invest in the United States in reforms to make us more competitive. And this means making smart, targeted investments in education, in innovation, and infrastructure, and doing what's necessary to put our fiscal house in order. The President's strategy is to combine immediate investments and tax incentives, as proposed in the American Jobs Act, with long-term reforms to reduce our future fiscal deficits. We need to take immediate steps to help strengthen growth now, as well as make long-term reforms that will help sustain growth in the future. These meetings reinforce the importance of the relationship shared among APEC economies. You're going to see the President come to Hawaii tomorrow to build on the progress we've achieved here today. I'd be happy to take some questions. Thank you.